Okay, in today's video, we're going to be discussing mathematical models, loans, and in relation to the loans, we're going to be discussing mortgages. But before we get into the discussion and the examples, I want to go over the upcoming assignments. We're in week 7 actually, and you're expected to have Module 3 project, Portfolio project, Part 1 and Part 2 done, as well as the Module 3 check-in. That's all due by October 29th. And then from week 5, I extended that homework and quiz assignment because what we're discussing today will actually help you with the homework and the quiz. And this is also due on October 29th. So the Module 3 My Math Lab homework and then the Module 3 My Math Lab quiz, that's also due by October 29th. Okay, so we're going to talk about mortgages, give you a brief introduction of mortgages. We'll go over some of the types of mortgages and then get into an example. So, a mortgage is a long term loan in which property is pledged as a security payment of the difference between what you put down or the down payment and whatever the sale price is. So, you use property or real property to as a collateral to receive a loan. There are two types of loans or mortgages. We have the adjustable rate mortgage and the conventional mortgage. So the adjustable rate is pretty much what it says. It's variable, so it could change depending on the quarter or the year. The conventional loan, however, that's a fixed rate. So whatever you initially sign up for, as far as the rate, that's what the rate's going to be going forward. So there are several different types of mortgages, but the four that I'm going to briefly discuss, you have the home equity loan, the FHA mortgage, the FA mortgage, or the VA mortgage, excuse me, and the balloon payment mortgage. So we'll start with the home equity loan. It's when the borrower uses the equity in their home as collateral. So to get the equity amount in your home, you have to take whatever the appraised value is and then subtract it from whatever the balance of the mortgage is. So I'll do a little example. So we'll discuss. So for that, so if your home is appraised at $100,000 and your mortgage balance is 50,000, the equity that you have in the house is equal to $50,000. So the banks usually don't let you borrow the whole amount. They usually allow you to borrow probably up to 80% of whatever the equity is. But that's how you calculate how much equity you have available in your home. And equity is pretty much whatever the appraised value is of the home minus whatever the balance of the mortgage that you owe on the home. So if you don't owe anything on the home and your home is appraised at $100,000, that means that the equity that you have in your home is $100,000. The next type of mortgage or loan that we'll discuss is the FHA mortgage. FHA stands for Federal Housing Administration, and that's a mortgage that's insured by the Federal Housing Administration. It's a governmental body. So this is popular for first-time buyers because it allows them to put down a down payment of 3.5% of whatever the purchase price is, and their score doesn't have to be as good to get this mortgage or to get this loan. So you could have a credit score as low as 550 points, and you would still be able to get this type of mortgage. Now, the one downside of the FHA mortgage is, or when you put down anything less than 20% down payment, is that you usually have to pay something called PMI, or private mortgage insurance. And this basically is an insurance that you have to pay every month on the mortgage, and it doesn't benefit whoever the borrower is, it benefits the lender. So it pretty much protects the lender if whoever borrows the money doesn't pay their mortgage. So it's generally between $100 or $200 in addition to whatever your mortgage is. So by putting down a lower amount, a lower down payment on the mortgage, or whatever the house is you're trying to buy, you may be looking to have to pay. You're probably going to have to pay $100 to $200 extra for the PMI. So just keep that in mind. If you do get a FHA loan, just keep that in mind. If you put less than 20% down, or any type of loan you get, if you put less than 20% down, more than likely you're going to have to pay PMI. Now, the next type of loan that we'll discuss is the Veterans Affairs Mortgage, and that's backed by the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. This is available to current service members, veterans, and any eligible surviving spouses. So, this is a good way for veterans to receive a mortgage to purchase a home, or a loan to purchase a home. The last type of mortgage that we'll discuss is the balloon payment mortgage, or sometimes referred to as BPM. So this mortgage is not amortized over the term of the loan. So it doesn't mean that, it means that for the length of the loan, you're going to make payments, but you're not making payments to pay off equally, so that at a specific time it's going to be zero. What happens is, over time, as you're paying, whenever you get to the maturity date, or whenever the loan is supposed to stop, there's going to be a large payment. So you can pay just a little bit up until the end of the payment of the mortgage. And these type of mortgages can either be fixed, as far as the interest rate, it can be fixed, or the interest rate could be adjustable or variable. So keep that in mind when you see balloon payment. That just means that, okay, right now, or for most of the loan, you're going to pay probably a low amount, but once it gets to that maturity date, that means that you're going to pay a larger payment. So keep that in mind. All right, so to calculate mortgage payment, or not just a mortgage payment, but any type of loan payment, there is an equation to use for that. And the equation, as you can see, PMT equals P times APR over N, all over, in brackets. These brackets are very important. 1 minus parentheses 1 plus APR over N, in parentheses, and then the exponent is parentheses minus n y, parentheses, and then bracket. So the letters that are in this equation, so PMT means that's the monthly payment. Again, this could be for any type of loan, not just a mortgage, but any type of loan, whether it's a auto loan or mortgage. Principal, that's the original amount that you borrow. So that's what P stands for. APR is annual percentage rate, or we can call that the interest rate, and I will probably put that in there right now. Well, just know that APR is the annual percentage rate. N is the number of payment periods per year, so it could be monthly, which is 12 payment periods per year. If it's quarterly, then it's payment periods per year. If it's half, then it's 2 payment periods per year. So this could change based off of whatever payment periods you agree upon. The Y equals the loan in terms of years. So if it's a 5-year loan, Y would be 5. If it's 30-year loan, Y would be 30. All right, so to put this into equation or give an example of how to use this equation, we're going to calculate the monthly payment of a mortgage with a 5% interest rate for 360. Oh, that should be 30 years, not 360 years. Let me correct that. Okay, I got it corrected. So not 360 years, just 30 years. So if we're going to put that in our equation, PMT equals the principal is $100,000, and we're going to multiply that times the APR, and we're going to turn that 5%, we're going to turn that into a decimal. So it's point zero, it looks like 6. Let me write this a little better. So 0.05 over the number of payments per period, or payment periods per year. It's monthly, so we'll do 12. And let me make this look a little bit better. This looks like 6. And it looks like 6 again. So there's, just know that this is not 160,000. It's 100,000. All of that gets put over. Remember, the brackets are very important because this number at the bottom usually ends up as being a negative number, and those brackets allow the negative number to be turned into a positive number. So the brackets are very important. So we got 1 minus, in parentheses, 1 plus 0.05 over 12. And then we have, in the exponent, we have a negative 12. Oh, why is this not working right? So negative 12 times 30, because it's 30 years. All right, and that gives us 100,000 times 0.05 divided by 12, and that's equal to a little bit smaller so I can see that number. All right, we're not gonna put that whole number. We're just gonna do 0.0041, and we'll just do 17. And then we'll divide that by, in brackets, 1 minus 1 point. And since we know that 0.05 over 12 is equal to 0.00417 rounded, I'm going to add 1 plus 0.00417. That'll give us 0.00417. And then it's a negative exponent 360. And then all of that is in a bracket. So we're gonna, I guess I'm gonna erase this top part because we already have that written down. So next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna multiply 100,000 so I can get my numerator. So I'm gonna multiply 100,000 times 0.00417. That gives me 417 in the numerator, and in the denominator. So I'm going to have to change my calculator because I don't see exponent on the standard. So I'm going to change it to scientific. And I'm going to do 1 minus, in parentheses, 1.00417 in parentheses. And then I'm going to do an exponent, which is this. And I'm going to do 360, and that's a negative, and that's equal to 0.7764. We'll just take 4 numbers because this is a very long number. So we're just going to use 0.7764 as our denominator. So 0.7764. And let's erase all this because we already calculated that. We just calculated that. So, all right. And we can stay on the scientific calculator. And we're going to take 417 divided by 0.7764. And that gives us 537.09. So 537.09 per month. So our monthly payment, if we were to get a mortgage for $100,000, 5% interest rate, and it was 30 years term, and we had to pay monthly, our monthly payments would be $537.09. Now, that's just the mortgage. That doesn't include any type of PMI or any type of homeowner's insurance or any other type of fees involved with home ownership. That's just the mortgage itself. All right, and let's go to the next slide. So the next example, we're going to do the same thing using the same numbers. And I'm not sure why it says 10,000. It should say 100,000. So $100,000 loan. All right, so calculate the monthly payment of a $100,000 mortgage with interest rate of 5% and 30 years. So we're going to use Microsoft Excel to calculate the mortgage. All right, so we're going to open up a blank workbook, and I'm going to follow the instructions that are in here. So first thing we need to do is open up Microsoft Excel, click in a cell where you want your monthly payment to show. So we're just going to go with where it is. We're in cell A1, and you see in the name box it says we're in cell A1. So that's where we're going to put our monthly payment at. All right, next thing, click on the formulas tab. So I'm going to go to formulas, click payment, or click financial. So financial, then I'm going to scroll down to payment, PMT. And if you hover over it, it'll show you it give you some information about it. So it calculates the payment for a loan based on constant payments and a constant interest rate. All right, so we're going to click on that. All right, for the rate, type in the interest rate as a decimal. Again, we're not going to put a percentage in there. We're going to use a decimal divided by 12 because we're doing monthly payments. So we're going to do 0.05 because the interest rate is 5%. And we're going to do divided by 12. And as I'm calculating this, you'll see that it's going to show you what it equals. All right, and the NPR, which is the number of payments. And as I'm doing this, if you click on a particular item, you'll see down here what the item is. So NPER is the total number of payments for the loan. So for the total number of payments, we are going to do 360. And for the present value, and it tells you one thing you'll know: if you don't put a negative sign in front of the present value, you're going to get a negative value. So let's go ahead and put a negative sign in the front. So you see that it comes out to be $536.82. So the reason why it's a little bit off from what we got of $537 is because I didn't use this long number. I just rounded it at um, 0.00417. So if I was to use 0.004166667 in this equation that I did on the previous slide, I would come up with the same thing, but we have a ballpark. We're only off by 27 cents, so we have a ballpark. So rounding does change the answer a little bit, but not anything that's going to be way out of the stratosphere as far as what the answer we're looking for. So that's why the answer is 536.82 and our answer is 537.09. It's because I rounded uh, right at this first six and I didn't want to use all of those numbers. I could have used those numbers, but I didn't want to. So that's how we use Microsoft Excel to calculate uh, a mortgage payment or any type of loan payment. So as with every week, you have a journal entry that you need to put in. It's pretty much what you learned in today's class. And if there's anything that you would like reviewed that I discussed today, put it in the email so that I'll have it on my list of things to discuss. And it has to be at least 50 words. And then the subject line, in the subject line, this is very important. Make sure that you put a descriptive subject line. An example, or what I prefer is MATH201, whatever today's date is, and then journal entry.